There comes a moment in every life when the soul grows weary of being scattered across too many careless hands, and it whispers for you to gather yourself back home. We live in a world hungry for stories, yet not all who listen wish you well, and not every smile is a sanctuary. The journey of becoming demands a quiet courage, the kind that rises when you trust your own spirit more than the applause of the crowd. So today, I invite you to pause, to breathe, and to reclaim the sacredness of your own unfolding. For when you stop telling everyone what's happening in your life, you do not shrink, you rise, you strengthen, and you bloom in the safety of your own stillness. Not every ear that listens is a heart that understands. There are people who will sit close, nod gently, and still miss the truth of your soul entirely. They hear your words but not your meaning, your plans but not your purpose, your pain but not your courage. And sometimes, without intending harm, they carry your stories with hands too small to hold them. They offer opinions instead of comfort, judgment instead of understanding, and noise instead of compassion. This is why you must choose not only what you say, but to whom you say it. Your life deserves listeners who listen with their spirit, not just their curiosity. There is a quiet kind of betrayal that comes from sharing your heart with those who do not know how to honor it. When you speak your dreams to the wrong ears, they may shrink them. When you reveal your wounds, they may reopen them. When you share your struggles, they may turn them into tales for others to retell. And though the world teaches us to open up, to connect, to pour ourselves out generously, there is another kind of wisdom that teaches restraint. A wisdom that reminds you that discernment is not coldness, it is protection. And protection does not make you hard, it makes you whole. There are people who hear you only long enough to shape an opinion, never long enough to understand your truth. Their ears collect information, but their hearts never transform it into empathy. And when you share your life with such people, you may find yourself doubting your own path. You may begin to second guess your choices, to shrink your ambitions, to silence your courage. This is the cost of speaking to listeners who are present but not connected, who are near but not aligned, who hear but do not receive. Protect yourself from these subtle wounds by learning to speak where your soul feels safe. Understanding is a rare and precious thing. It requires humility, compassion, patience, and a willingness to see beyond the surface. The person who understands you does not need every detail. They feel the shape of your story even in your silence. They honor your vulnerability without exploiting it. They listen not to respond, not to advise, but to witness. And they hold what you share with gentle reverence, knowing that every life is a fragile masterpiece in progress. When you meet such people, you will never have to force your truth into their hands. They will naturally make space for it. So speak wisely. Offer your life only to those who listen with their hearts open and their intentions clean. Speak to those who can hold your fears without feeding them, who can celebrate your victories without envy, who can hear your uncertainty without making it their entertainment. And save the deepest parts of your story for the quiet moments when the right soul is beside you. For not every listener deserves access to your heart, and not every heart is ready to understand the beauty, the struggle, and the rising that make you who you are. Silence is not emptiness, it is strength gathering itself. There is a certain power in the moments when you choose not to speak, not because you have nothing to say, but because you are allowing your spirit the space to breathe, to steady, to grow. The world often confuses quiet with weakness, as if noise is the only language strength understands. But silence has its own voice, one that speaks in the rhythm of patience, one that teaches you to listen to the deeper layers of your own being. When you fall still, you do not disappear. You become more present, more aware, more connected to the truth that lives beneath all the clutter. In silence, you learn to hear the parts of yourself that get drowned out by constant explanations and self-defense. You learn what you truly feel, not what you feel compelled to say. You learn what you want, not what others expect of you. Silence gives you permission to gather your intentions before you release them into the world. It frees you from the urge to justify your choices, your plans, or your dreams. When you stop announcing every step you take, you begin to trust your inner compass more than the opinions around you. And trust is the foundation of every transformation you seek to create. There is also a quiet healing that happens when you keep your heart away from unnecessary noise. Every time you choose silence over oversharing, you protect the vulnerable pieces of your journey. You allow your wounds to close without being touched by hands that do not understand their tenderness. You let your growth expand without interference from those who fear change. You keep your spirit steady without absorbing the doubts of others. Silence becomes a soft shelter, a place where you can rebuild, recharge, and rediscover the courage that sometimes gets scattered when you speak too soon or too often. Silence is not isolation, it is preparation. It is the gathering of strength before a breakthrough, the deep inhale before a powerful stride, the grounding of your feet before you rise. Every great shift in your life begins quietly, long before the world notices. Seeds do not sprout with sound, they sprout in hidden soil. Storms do not announce themselves gently, they build in silent tension, and your becoming, the version of you that is wiser, stronger, clearer, does not arrive through noise. It arrives through the quiet choices you make when no one is watching. So honor your silence. Let it wrap itself around you when your soul needs rest. Let it guide you when your path feels uncertain. Let it hold your dreams until they are ready to stand on their own. And understand that your silence is not a retreat from life. It is a powerful preparation for the life you are building. When you embrace the strength within your stillness, you no longer fear being unheard. You begin to realize that the most important things you learn, create, and become often happen in the spaces where no words are needed at all. You do not need an audience to validate your becoming. Your growth is not a performance, and your evolution is not a show for others to approve. Too often we hold our progress up like a photograph, waiting for someone to nod, to praise, to confirm that we are moving in the right direction. But your journey does not require applause to be meaningful. It does not need witnesses to be real. You are allowed to rise quietly, to transform privately, to build yourself in the unseen corners of your life where no one is grading your steps. Becoming is an intimate act, crafted in moments that belong only to you. The world has taught us that everything must be shared, displayed, and validated externally. People want to document their growth before they have even experienced it. They post their beginnings before they understand their endings. They share their battles before they've found their strength. But the truth is this: when you seek constant validation, you hand over the power to shape your identity to those who cannot see the depth of your soul. You let people who barely know your story write the margins of your life, and that is far too sacred a power to give away. Your worth cannot be measured in reactions, nor can your destiny be defined by the cheers or silence of others. There is a quiet liberation in realizing that your transformation belongs solely to you. When you stop needing others to affirm your path, you begin to hear your own voice more clearly. You notice the shift in your spirit, the softening of old wounds, the strengthening of new courage. You feel the subtle but powerful ways you are expanding. You start to trust that your heart knows where to go, even when the world does not understand your steps. And in that trust, you find a freedom that no audience could ever give you. You become accountable only to your purpose, not to the expectations of those watching. Some of your greatest changes will happen far from the eyes of others. They will happen in the silence of early mornings, when you choose discipline over comfort. They will happen in the middle of long nights, when you decide not to break under old patterns. They will happen in moments of solitude, when you release past versions of yourself with grace instead of guilt. These shifts may be invisible to the world, but they are monumental to your becoming. And when the time comes for your transformation to show, to bloom, to breathe, to shine, it will be undeniable, not because someone approved it, but because you lived it. So walk your path with confidence, even when no one is looking. Build your dreams with steady hands, even when no one applauds. Heal your wounds with tenderness, even when no one acknowledges your courage. Let your becoming be guided by your inner truth, not by the noise of the world. You do not need an audience to rise. You do not need witnesses to grow. You need only the quiet certainty that who you are becoming is worthy, is powerful, and is entirely yours. Some dreams bloom only in quiet places. They are tender things at first, soft as new petals, easily bruised by judgment, doubt, or careless opinions. Not every dream is strong enough to survive exposure before its time. Some need the hush of solitude, the shelter of your own heart, the warmth of your private belief before they can stand in the open air. When you speak too soon, you invite winds that may scatter the seeds before they root. But when you let your dreams grow quietly, they gather strength in the stillness, preparing themselves to rise in full dignity when the moment is right. There is a gentle wisdom in allowing your dreams to develop without constant explanation. Every time you describe your vision to someone who cannot see it, you risk shrinking its beauty to match their limited imagination. People often hear through the filter of their own fears. They will project their insecurities onto your hopes, telling you what is too big, what is too risky, what is unrealistic. But a dream is not meant to fit within the boundaries of another person's courage. It is born from your own spirit, carrying a truth that only you can feel. And because of that, it deserves the privacy to unfold at its own pace, free from premature critique. Quiet places nurture clarity. They give you room to listen to your intuition without interruption. They offer space for reflection, for experimentation, for the kind of growth that cannot happen under the pressure of public eyes. When you hold a dream close, you are able to explore it with tenderness. You can make mistakes without shame, adjust your direction without explaining yourself, and build its foundation with intention rather than urgency. In the quiet, you discover not only what you want to achieve, but why it matters, and that why becomes the anchor that keeps your dreams steady when challenges arise. Some dreams are too sacred to share until they are ready to withstand the misunderstanding of others. These are the dreams that come to you like whispers, gentle, steady, persistent. They ask to be protected, not exposed. They ask for your commitment, not your announcement. And they ask to be watered with patience, not rushed into the spotlight. When you honor that, you honor the process of creation itself. You learn that becoming is not loud, growth is not always visible, progress does not always need to be celebrated publicly. Some of your greatest leaps happen in silence, where no one but you can see the depth of your transformation. And then one day, the dream that you nurtured quietly begins to bloom. Not because you pushed it into the world, but because it finally gathered enough strength to rise on its own. Its petals open, its colors deepen, and its presence becomes undeniable. People will wonder where it came from, how it blossomed so beautifully, how it survived without their witness. But you will know. You will know that it grew in the quiet places, those sacred, sheltered spaces where your faith was stronger than your fear, where your hope was constant, and where your dream learned to bloom without applause. People cannot sabotage what they do not know. There is a certain freedom in moving quietly, a certain protection in keeping your next steps tucked beneath the folds of your own intention. Not everyone wishes you harm, but not everyone wishes you well either. And sometimes even the well-meaning can derail a path they do not understand. When you speak too soon about your plans, your hopes, your movements, you open the door to energies that can shake your confidence, cloud your clarity, or weaken your resolve. But when you hold your journey close, you move with a strength that no outside voice can touch. There are times in life when you are building something delicate, something new, something still learning to stand. In those moments, silence becomes more than a choice. It becomes a shield. Some people will doubt your vision simply because it does not mirror their own. Others will project their fears onto your courage, telling you all the ways things might fall apart. And there are those who, knowingly or unknowingly, may sabotage your progress out of jealousy, insecurity, or their own unhealed wounds. When your life is open for everyone to examine, you give them access not only to your dreams, but also to the power to influence them. Keeping certain things to yourself is not secrecy, it is self-preservation. When you protect your plans, you protect your power. Your direction remains yours, unbent by the opinions of those who do not walk your path. You stay connected to your inner compass, guided by your own wisdom rather than the noise of others. And in that quiet, you begin to see clearly what is for you and what is not. You recognize which actions strengthen you and which voices weaken you. You see who genuinely supports your growth and who only celebrates it when it aligns with their comfort. Silence helps you separate truth from distraction, loyalty from convenience, clarity from confusion. People cannot sabotage what they cannot see. When you keep your moves private, you avoid unnecessary battles. You avoid explaining yourself to those who are determined not to understand. You avoid defending your intention against people who have already decided it is flawed. There is less interference, less noise, less emotional turbulence. You move smoother, lighter, more freely. You give yourself the chance to grow uninterrupted. Your momentum becomes your protection. Your quiet becomes your armor. And perhaps the most powerful part of keeping your life private is this: you begin to trust yourself more deeply. You learn that your intuition is not a fragile thing. You learn that your dreams do not require public approval to be worthy. You learn that you are capable of guiding your own life without narrating every step to those who have not earned that intimacy. The more you keep to yourself, the stronger your inner world becomes. You build confidence from the inside out, not from the reactions of others, but from the clarity of your own spirit. So move quietly when you must, grow silently when you need. Let your actions reveal themselves only when they are unshakable, for what remains hidden cannot be attacked, and what is protected can rise without interruption. People cannot sabotage what they do not know, and your life will flourish more gracefully when you understand that some chapters are meant to be lived, not announced. Your peace grows when your tongue learns discipline. There is a quiet liberation in choosing not to speak every thought, not to react to every provocation, not to reveal every detail of your heart. The world may tempt you into constant expression, into explaining yourself, defending yourself, proving yourself. But discipline teaches you that peace is often found in restraint. When you learn to hold your words, you also learn to hold your power. You stop scattering your energy in places where it cannot flourish. You stop offering pieces of yourself to people who have not earned the privilege of knowing you. Your peace expands the moment you realize that silence is not suppression, it is protection. Many of the storms you face are not caused by life itself, but by the words you release too quickly. Sharing your dreams too soon can invite discouragement. Speaking your emotions too impulsively can cause misunderstandings. Revealing your struggles to the wrong people can deepen your wounds instead of healing them. Discipline of the tongue teaches you to pause, to breathe, to choose clarity over reaction. It teaches you that not every emotion deserves a voice in the moment it rises. Some feelings need time to settle before they can be understood. Some thoughts need space before they can be shaped into truth. And some stories need to remain unspoken until they find the right listener. When your tongue learns discipline, your spirit grows lighter. You spend less time repairing the damage caused by words spoken without intention. You no longer feel drained by conversations that lead nowhere. You stop regretting the pieces of yourself you offered in haste. Instead, you find yourself anchored, steady, unshaken by the shifting winds of other people's opinions. You become more rooted in your own truth because you have learned to protect it before presenting it. Peace becomes less of a fleeting feeling and more of a steady state, born from the decisions you make with your voice and your silence. There is also empowerment in choosing what you do not say. Not responding to every insult is not weakness, it is mastery. Not explaining your every decision is not arrogance, it is sovereignty. Not sharing your next move is not secrecy, it is strategy. Discipline allows you to place boundaries around your mind, your emotions, and your time. It teaches others how to treat you, not through your explanations, but through your consistency. You use your voice with intention, not obligation. You speak when it serves your growth, and you remain silent when it protects your peace. Your peace grows when you no longer allow your words to be controlled by impulse or insecurity. It grows when your tongue becomes a gatekeeper rather than a floodgate. It grows when you reserve your voice for truth, for purpose, for connection, not for reaction, validation, or noise. With discipline, your conversations become clearer, your relationships become healthier, and your inner world becomes calmer. You begin to see that power does not always speak loudly. Sometimes the strongest person in the room is the one who chooses silence over chaos, intention over impulse, and peace over the momentary pleasure of being heard. Let your actions speak the poetry your words need not declare. There is a certain beauty in allowing your life to express what your lips never have to utter. When you stop talking about what you plan to do, you create room for your actions to reveal the truth of your intentions. Words can be twisted, misunderstood, dismissed, or forgotten, but actions carry a weight that cannot be erased. They hold a clarity that no explanation can match. When you live your truth instead of announcing it, people feel the shift in your presence, not just the sound of your promises. Actions do not beg for attention, they command respect. They don't require speeches, they cultivate impact. When you build quietly, grow consistently, and move intentionally, your progress becomes its own form of language. People will begin to notice the changes in your confidence, the strength in your choices, the steadiness in your spirit. You won't have to convince anyone of who you are becoming. They will see it in the way you walk, the way you handle challenges, the way you protect your peace. Your actions will speak a truth that you could never fully articulate with words alone. There is also a profound dignity in choosing to show rather than tell. Many speak loudly of their dreams, yet never take the first step. Many promise change, but cling to old habits. Many describe futures they never commit to building. But when you decide to let your actions lead, you separate yourself from empty talk. You begin to show the world and yourself that your intentions are not merely ideas floating in your mind, but commitments anchored in discipline. Quiet action reveals character. It exposes what you truly value, not what you say you value. It shows your priorities without an audience, without applause, without external reward. Letting your actions speak does not mean hiding your life. It means allowing your growth to unfold naturally without the need for constant commentary. It means trusting that transformation is more powerful when witnessed, not declared. It means understanding that progress measured privately is often more genuine than progress performed publicly. When you stop explaining your every step, you give your journey the space to develop without pressure, without comparison, without the noise of other people's opinions shaping your direction. Your life becomes a quiet poem when your actions align with your purpose. The decisions you make each day write verses of resilience, courage, patience, and evolution. You show the world what you believe through the way you show up, the way you treat others, the way you honor your boundaries. You do not have to declare your intentions when you are living them. You do not have to announce your plans when you are acting on them. You do not have to prove your strength when you are demonstrating it. When your actions become your voice, you rise beyond the need to be understood. You step into a quiet mastery where your growth is undeniable, your direction unshakable, and your truth unmistakable. Let your actions speak the poetry your words need not declare, because a life lived with integrity is more powerful than anything spoken aloud. Guard your journey, for not all who walk beside you walk with you. Life will place many people on your path, some for a season, some for a lesson, some for love, and some simply as passing shadows. Their footsteps may fall close to yours, their presence may feel familiar, and their words may sound supportive, but closeness is not the same as loyalty. Proximity is not the same as alignment. And just because someone is near does not mean they are walking toward the same horizon as you. Guarding your journey means learning to discern the difference between those who truly travel with you and those who simply occupy the same road for a moment. There are people who will applaud your successes only if your success does not surpass their own. They will encourage you until your courage threatens their comfort. They will walk beside you as long as the path is smooth, but disappear the moment your steps become heavy. These are the companions who walk near you but not with you. They enjoy the warmth of your presence, the strength of your spirit, the wisdom of your words, yet they do not know how to support you when your path requires depth, dedication, or sacrifice. Guarding your journey means recognizing who stands with you out of convenience and who stands because they are committed to your becoming. Some people travel close not to uplift you, but to monitor you. They want to know your plans without wanting to contribute to them. They want access to your life, not out of love, but out of curiosity, comparison, or quiet insecurity. They may smile at your face while secretly hoping your steps slow because your movement reminds them of their stillness. They may cloak their envy in concern, offering advice that pulls you backward instead of forward. Guarding your journey does not mean shutting people out. It means protecting your direction from the influence of those who do not walk with sincerity. There will also be those who love you, yet cannot journey where you are going. Their hearts may be kind, but their vision may be limited. Their intentions may be good, but their fears may be louder than your faith. They may try to hold you close when life is calling you higher. They may offer comfort where you need challenge. They may slow your steps not out of malice, but out of misunderstanding. Guarding your journey means understanding that love alone does not qualify someone to guide you. Some companions are meant for earlier chapters, not the next ones you are growing toward. Guard your journey by listening to the quiet wisdom in your spirit. Pay attention to the energy people bring, the way they respond to your joy, the way they sit with your pain, the way they hold your dreams. Notice who fuels your growth and who drains it. Notice who celebrates your rise and who only tolerates it. Notice who walks beside you without demanding to know every detail of your path. Guarding your journey is not about building walls. It is about building boundaries that honor your purpose. And as you protect your direction, you will begin to walk with greater peace. You will trust your steps more deeply. You will move more intentionally, more freely, more authentically. When you guard your journey, you give yourself permission to grow without interference, to rise without hesitation, and to walk toward your destiny surrounded only by those who are truly meant to walk with you. Your story is your sanctuary. Protect it the way you protect your soul. In a world that pulls at you from every direction, there is a quiet power in choosing what you keep for yourself. Your life is not a public square where every passerby has the right to wander through your hopes, your wounds, and your tender beginnings. It is a sacred home built from your triumphs, your heartbreaks, your lessons, and your rising. And like any sacred place, it deserves walls strong enough to keep out careless hands and doors that open only to those who honor your journey. You must remember that your story is not entertainment, nor is it currency for validation. It is a vessel of who you are becoming, and not everyone is worthy of holding that weight. There will always be those who listen, not out of love, but out of curiosity dressed as concern. They ask what you're planning, where you're heading, what you're dreaming, but not because they want to see you soar. Some want to measure your progress against their own insecurities. Some want to predict your fall so they can stand a little taller. and some simply do not know how to carry the beauty of another person's hope. And when you share your life too freely with those who do not value it, you give them the privilege of shaping your emotions, your confidence, and sometimes even your direction. Protecting your story is not secrecy, it is wisdom wrapped in self-respect. There is strength in silence, though the world often misunderstands it. Silence is not weakness, it is the soil where greatness grows its roots. When you hold your dreams close, you give them the space to mature without premature judgment. When you keep your struggles tucked within your own heart, you allow healing to happen without interruption. And when you guard your next steps, you step forward with clarity, unburdened by the expectations of others. The quiet moments you keep to yourself are not empty. They are full of intention, full of growth, full of the gentle shaping of who you are meant to be. Your story, in its fullness, is a gift, one that must be offered to those who earn the right to hear it. Not by their presence, but by their character. Share with those who uplift, who nurture, who listen without envy, and who stand beside you without needing to know every detail. Share with those who celebrate your progress without demanding a map of how you arrived there. Share with those who see your becoming not as a threat, but as a light. And as you guard your life more carefully, you will begin to see a beautiful transformation. Your peace expands, your confidence deepens, and your steps become firmer, freer, and more grounded. So let your story remain sacred. Let it breathe in the quiet. Let it grow in the dark where roots deepen and dreams take shape. Let your journey unfold not for the world's curiosity, but for your soul's evolution. For when you protect your story, you protect your purpose, and nothing is more powerful than a person who knows the worth of their own becoming.